Hello parents and carers, it's Simon Abelardo here at Rush Green Primary School. The date is 5th of January 2021 and got some updates following the announcement on the 30th of December and the most recent announcement which was made by Boris Johnson last night. Obviously we're going to be opening our doors tomorrow to key worker children and to vulnerable children, including those children with EHCPs, so SEND children with EHCPs, so it doesn't include other SEND children at this stage. Now, this is a response to the new strain of COVID, which obviously has hit the country, but in particular hit Barking and Dagenham, Havering, and one or two other London boroughs in the run up to Christmas. I think we all noticed that we were hit fairly hard, and we had a number of classes and year groups that were closed, and we still have a number of staff that are out at the moment as a result of the COVID stuff and transmission of COVID over Christmas. It is good that the government has finally admitted that schools are not as safe as they've been purported to be, and I think it's really important to remember that. And obviously we can minimise transmission as much as possible, but schools are not COVID safe environments. All right, so I think it's important to recognise that. Now, we're going to be opening our doors tomorrow to key worker children, vulnerable children, as I've already said, and the key worker critical worker list has changed very slightly from what was announced last year, and construction played a big part in that list last year, and it's no longer on that list this time round. So as of the list which was given to us on the 31st, construction workers aren't included anymore. So we are at the moment looking at the list that we've been working through lists over the last couple of days of children that can attend, but spaces are limited simply because of the numbers. We've been given an upper limit we can work to, which is around 15% of the school population, and the whole idea of that is to try and minimise the number of people on the school site at any one time, for staff and for pupils, and obviously for parents coming on and off school site too. So because of this, we've had to prioritise, first of all, our vulnerable children, obviously, to make sure that they're safe, they're in school, so it's children with social workers and things like that, but as well as children that have got other reasons to be in school. I've already mentioned children with SEN, with EHCs and things like that, but we are also going to be prioritising, or we have already prioritised, families where there are two key workers. So that will be, where two of you are nurses, for example, or one of you works in transport, the other one of you, perhaps works in a shop, those sorts of things. That's where we based that on. Now, we've also looked at single parents that are key workers too. So that's where we've had to prioritise that. Now, when we've taken all of those families and those pupils into consideration, it does reduce what we've got on offer by quite a few, and it almost takes us up to our total. Now, we're still having to work on some of our vulnerable pupils and getting those children into school. There is a requirement that those children do attend, and we're going to be working very closely with those families and with the local authority and social services in many cases to get those children in. But I've got to hold those places open until I know one way or the other categorically whether or not those children are going to be attending. So does mean obviously that we have some reserved places, but it does mean that there are likely to be some places that will open up a little bit later on. We've already had some other parents, after seeing the announcement last night and recognising that schools aren't as COVID secure as has been sort of mentioned in the past, have released those places, and we've already managed to fill up a few places with other parents that are next on that waiting list. So please do be patient. I know that we've got lots and lots of you that are waiting. Those places will become available hopefully at some point or another, but we are doing our best here with the remit that we have, and it's I understand that there's an awful lot of pressure on you as families. I understand that many of you are in very difficult positions where perhaps bosses in your workplaces aren't allowing you to take the time, and we're all in a very difficult position, and we'll do what we can to support you. But I can only do that if other places become available. Otherwise, the school isn't going to be. We're not going to be helping anyone, and it's a very difficult position. So. Um, so we've also carried out risk assessment updates over the last 2 days, and we've gone back to similar arrangements to where we were back in March and in the summer term. We are still expecting the staggered arrangements to remain. So, you know, all of you that have been used to getting your children in at a specific time, picking those children up at a specific time, those specific times will remain. Your children will be separated out a little bit further into bubbles, into year group bubbles, although there will be, they will be in contact in the playtime outside areas and things like that. Although middays, they'll have their own allocated midday, and be keeping those classroom and year group bubbles as separate as possible. Now we've going to obviously be operating remote learning for the bulk of the school, and that's going to be happening hopefully from tomorrow. I know the year group teams have been working very hard over the last 2 days to get all of that up and ready. Timetables will be going out today if they haven't already done so, and the last few of those probably will be going out tomorrow morning. We're aiming to be ready for tomorrow, and you know there is a good chance most of that will happen, but please do bear with us. We've got a number of staff, like I say, that are absent, that are ill, and we are already having to close one or two classes. So some remote learning won't be happening at the moment, but you know, just bear with us. That information will come out separately. We have had one or two children in the past sort of try it on with things like login details and stuff like that. All of the children have login details. It will be in their reading record books, either in the front cover or the back cover. All of the children have also had classes with Mr. Mia in school, and they've all been taught how to log in, so they do know what to do. So if they do try it in, if they do try it on, do let us know, and we'll try and sort of work with you around that. It's also worth mentioning that your children do not need laptops. All right, there's no requirement for your children to have a laptop. Obviously, that would be the ideal situation, but you know, a tablet. If you've got a tablet, you haven't, a smartphone is good enough. All right, so it is important also that your children do log in at the required times. There are going to be several times during the day where different groups of children will need to log in. So it is important that you log in at your allotted time, because this is going to be live teaching. All right, so that's important too. Yeah, and also I think it's important for me to say that because teaching's happening in school also, year group leads will be working with those children in school with some of the phase leads. So it may mean that your class teacher won't be your child's class teacher when they're accessing remote learning. So you know there'll be some variation around that, and you know, but it should still be good quality stuff. We're also aiming for whatever children are doing at home, children in school will be doing the same, and vice versa, so that we've got that equity of learning going on. Finally, I guess for me, just a few last points really. You know, please remember that the virus. This new strain of the virus is somewhere in the region of 70% more transmissible than the last virus strain that we have. Schools really should be your last resort. If you can manage to keep your children at home, if one of you is a key worker, but for example another one of you isn't, please try and manage to keep your children at home as best you can. Schools really should be your last resort, and you know we're almost back to the situation where we were in March. We're not expecting children that are coming in school to wear school uniform, and that hopefully will sort of facilitate you know, differences in different clothing items every day. We're trying to sort of work along that, because obviously we do know the virus clings to clothes. We are going back to school packed lunches. All right, so we're moving away from hot dinners. Just in the short term, we'll review how we go, but you know, you can still have a school hot dinner, a school packed lunch in the same way that your child would have a school hot dinner, and you'd order that through the kitchen and everything else. Or if you prefer, you can you can order, you can send your child in with your own packed lunch. But we'll still be working to that. If you're entitled to free school meals, then you do the same. So it would still be through a packed lunch, and obviously you pay for that in the normal way as you would for hot school dinners. Now, children will have those in their classes, and they'll be looked after by midday. It'll clean those desks down, everything else. But the idea is to try and minimise any spread in the kitchens and things like that, and in the school halls where the children will be in close contact while they're sitting together at tables and things like that. Free school meals, children. Obviously, I've already mentioned how that will work in school. But for those of you that are free school meals and at home, we're at the moment working with local authority to make arrangements for what that will look like. We're hoping that we go back to a voucher model, but I don't know whether or not that's been confirmed at government level yet. So we're still working on that, and we're having conversations later today to discuss that. So more news on that will come. I've already mentioned staggered start times and end times. They're going to remain as they have. And I guess lastly, I need to say that, I am aware that there's an awful lot of pressure on all of you at home. And now having to support your children at home with learning is an added pressure. And we all recognise that. We will support you as best as we can, with the limited remit that we've got. But we're doing our best in school too, and we can take as many children up to that upper limit, which we're just about at. But I think all of us recognise this isn't the start to the new year that any of us wanted. We have to recognise that there is this new strain of the virus, and it's I don't believe it's any more deadly than the last virus, but I think we are now all aware that it's certainly more spreadable, and probably all of us now will be aware of people that have had the virus at various degrees. We've got a number of staff that have had the virus in school, including myself and my family. But I think we all know people that have also died from this virus too, or at least have been very seriously ill. So, it is worth recognising that this is serious stuff still, and we'll do our best to support you. If you need help, please let us know. All right, we will do our best to support you, whether that's with online remote learning or whether it's something more serious. If you need us, just ring. All right, and we will do our best to support you. Other than that, I haven't anything more to say at this stage apart from please stay safe, look after yourselves, and we're only at the end of the telephone call. All right, so if you need us, you know where we are. So please stay safe, look after yourselves. All right, it's me signing off now. Thank you very much, everyone.